كتاب الله، آيات من القرآن الكريم يتلوها علينا الأخ محمد الزين، فليتفضل بعد الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.
إذا في مجال علي
يلا معلش ما بيأثرش.
الله من عرض السلام على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يسبح لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض، الملك القدوس العزيز الحكيم. هو الذي بعث في الأميين رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة وإن كانوا من قبل لفي ضلال مبين. هو الذي بعث في الأميين رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة وإن كانوا من قبل لفي ضلال مبين. وآخرين منهم لما يلحقوا بهم وهو العزيز الحكيم. ذلك فضل الله يؤتيه من يشاء والله ذو الفضل العظيم. مثل الذين حملوا التوراة ثم لم يحملوها كمثل الحمار يحمل أسفارا بئس مثل القوم الذين كذبوا بآيات الله والله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين. صدق الله العلي العظيم. إلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات من مات على الولاية والإيمان موت الحاضرين لا سيما العلماء والشهداء، وإلى موتى الدكتور طلال طرفة، رحم الله من يقرأ المباركة الفاتحة مسبوقة بذكر الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أنبياء الله والمرسلين. صاحب هذا الحدث الأدبي الثقافي البروفسور الحاج طلال طرفة، علماء الدين الأفاضل، الحضور الكريم، سلام من الله عليكم ورحمة منه وبركاته. ما أجمل أن تكون وليمتنا اليوم وليمة فكر وأدب، وهي علامة من علامات الصحية في المجتمع أن نجتمع من أجل كتاب. والمظهر الأكثر صحة أن نجتمع من أجل توقيع 8 كتب باللغتين العربية والإنجليزية، وبعضهم أخذ بعداً عالمياً ليترجم إلى عدة لغات العربية والإنجليزية والفرنسية والفارسية والإندونيسية، وآخر يعتلي مركز صدارة في دور النشر. لا شك أن حصاد الحاج طلال الأدبي في غنى وثروة للمكتبة العلمية والإسلامية، وكثيرة هي مجالات الإبداع الإنساني، ولكن لعل أبسط الآثار وفي الوقت نفسها أعمقها أن يترك الإنسان بصمته هنا وهناك عبر الكتاب الذي يقرأ بكل مكان ويظهر ما فيه على كل لسان، ويوجد مع كل زمان حسنة جارية ينتفع بها على مر العصور. أيها الإخوة والأخوات، ما نشهده اليوم من إبداع في عالم الكتابة ليس وليد الساعة، بل هي في الحقيقة نتاج عقود وسنين من الدأب والتحمل والبحث التي قضاها البروفسور الحاج طلال طرفة، مستكشفا أعماق فلسفة الإسلام، منقبا في أعماق المادة وأسرار الحياة والكون والروابط بينهما، متعمقا في تحليل الآيات القرآنية والكتب السماوية، منفتحا على الأديان السماوية ومراجع الدين العظام، فأنتج موسوعة من الفكر والمعرفة في صيغة علمية منهجية رسالية يهتدي بها الطامحون إلى تثقيف العقل والراغبون في الخروج من ظلمات الجهل. أيها الإخوة والأخوات، شجعه على التوثيق والكتابة عن الإسلام بطريقة معاصرة والانفتاح على الأديان السماوية وأهمية الوحدة بينهم، حثه في البحث عن حقيقة الإسلام من خلال القرآن الكريم ودراسة مؤلفات مراجع الدين العظام بكل اتجاهاتها. لم يبخل يوما على الحاج طلال بعلمه وفضله وإرشاده، فهو للفضل صاحبا وللعلم أهلا وللإرشاد نورا، عنيت به المرجع الديني العلامة الشيخ عبد اللطيف بري أطال الله بعمره. بالنيابة عن المرجع الديني، كلمة من وحي هذه المناسبة الثقافية مع نجله الدكتور الشيخ باقر بري، فليتفضل بعد الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد. خليك
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق سيدنا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. إخوتي العلماء الأفاضل، الإخوة والأخوات والأحبة في الله، أيها الحفل الكريم، أخي العزيز المكرم والمحتفى به الدكتور الحاج طلال طرفة، السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا وسهلا بكم في المجمع الإسلامي الثقافي. نجتمع اليوم هنا لمناسبة توقيع البروفسور الحاج طلال طرفة مجموعته الكاملة مترجمة إلى اللغة العربية، وإصداره لكتابه الرائع الأخير الذي يلخص مجموعة كتبه السبعة القيمة. ونجتمع اليوم هنا في حب الكلمة الطيبة المقروءة والمعرفة التي تدعو إلى الله، ونجتمع لتكريم علم من أعلام ساحتنا الثقافية ومفكر من مفكري جاليتنا الفاعلة المتفاعلة. يقول سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم: قل هل يستوي الذين يعلمون والذين لا يعلمون إنما يتذكر أولو الألباب. ويقول عز من قائل: يرفع الله الذين آمنوا منكم والذين أوتوا العلم درجات. غني عن البيان أيها الأحبة أن الأخ الفاضل الحاج طلال طرفة ليس مجرد ابن بار من أبناء جاليتنا الكريمة المعطاءة، ولا هو أستاذ جامعي وحسب، بل هو المفكر الإسلامي الملتزم والعامل المخلص الدؤوب على ساحتنا الأمريكية وعلى أكثر من صعيد. هو من بين أبرز رموز حركتنا الفكرية الناهضة في أمريكا، وهو بحق من ألمع نجوم هذه الحركة الواعية المجددة. هو من يمشي بيننا بتواضع، لكن الله سبحانه وتعالى جعل لوجوده مكانة رفيعة في قلوبنا، وهو الذي يعمل طوال الوقت بصمت، لكن أعماله المشرفة تتكلم عنه، وكتبه القيمة ترفع رأسها ورؤوسنا عاليا. هكذا عرفناه جميعا متواضعا جادا ومثابرا، وعرفه سماحة الوالد هنا في المجمع الإسلامي الثقافي صديق درب وشريك نضال، رفيق فكر وعلم وعلم وقلم، وعرفته جاليتنا العربية الإسلامية الوفية، عرفته في مؤسساتها وساحاتها ومناسباتها ثقافة حركية لا تتوانى، وعزما نهضويا لا يلين. وهكذا أيضا عرفنا حرمه المصوم الحاج نعمات، ناشطة في الحقل الخيري وناشطة في العمل الاجتماعي. خلينا نصلي على محمد وآل محمد لأن الحاج نعمات. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. مصر. للمرأة حق علينا جميعا، عرفناهما معا نسيجا ثنائيا يشكل وحدة واحدة في مفاصل العمل الثقافي والخدمي والإنساني العام. ولست أبالغ حين أقول محظوظان هذان الزوجان المتكاملان روحا وعطاء وتضحية وإخلاصا، ومحظوظون نحن أيضا بأن نحظى في أوساط جاليتنا هنا بنماذج رائدة ورائعة مثلهما. إننا في هذه الجالية بخير كبير ما دام فينا من يضيء لنا طريق الحياة والطريق إلى الله كالحاج طلال والحاج نعمات. إخوتي وأخواتي الكرام، في كتبه السبعة التي ألفها والتي بين أيدينا اليوم يتبدى لنا الدكتور طرفة صاحب مشروع ثقافي متكامل، فمنذ ما ينوف على 3 عقود يناضل من أجل أن يثري نفوسنا قبل مكتبتنا بهذه المنظومة الروحية والعقائدية والفكرية المتآخية المتآزرة، بل ويسعى جاهدا لتلبية حاجة الناطقين المسلمين الناطقين باللغة الإنجليزية لطروحات إسلامية أصيلة. هذا كان حلم لدينا، لطروحات إسلامية أصيلة تنبذ العنف والتعصب والتطرف وتتجاوز عقد التفرقة والاستقطاب والتجزئة، وتعلم دين الرحمة والتسامح والرأفة. فلا غرو أيها الأحبة أن نصف الدكتور طلال بأنه مهندس جسور بين الديانات، ولا عجب أن نعتبره مصمم طرق بين أبناء الديانة الواحدة، بين المذهبين الشيعي والسني، فلقد برع في هذا وذاك بما يتحلى به من روح إنسانية متسامية على الخلافات المذهبية، ومتعالية على الحزازات والفوارق النسبية وربما الوهمية في أحيان كثيرة. أنا شفت مدى عمق الكتب التي يؤلفها، فهو يأخذ بعض الأحيان من الكتب الحديثية السنية وبعض الأحيان من الكتب الحديثية الشيعية التي تشع في أحاديث الرسول صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. واللافت في مشاريع الدكتور طلال الكتابية أنه يستوحي هذه الأفكار من منابعها الأصيلة ويستقيها من أصولها الصافية، من القرآن الكريم ومن السنة النبوية الشريفة، وأيضا أولا ومن أحاديث وروايات أهل البيت عليهم السلام. وإذا بهذا المؤلف المتمرس في دراساته الأكاديمية المنهجية متضلع بدرجة مدهشة، أنا يدهشني شخصيا، أنا أندهش بدرجة مدهشة في البحوث العلمية للدراسات الإسلامية، والتي لا تتأتى إلا لمن درسها في حوزاتها وجامعاتها وخبرها وخاض غمار البحث فيها. إنه وبجهد ذاتي خلاق يرتاد آفاق المعرفة الإسلامية ليستكشف عمق ثرائها وخصوبة مضامينها، وهو إلى هذا وذاك ليس كاتبا تنظيريا. هذه نقاط مهمة عم نتكلم عنها، مهمة في كتب الدكتور طلال. وهو إلى هذا وذاك ليس كاتبا تنظيريا، بل هو قادر ببراعة على المواءمة بين الفكرة الأصيلة وسبل تطبيقها والمقترح وطريقة إنفاذه وإجرائه في الواقع، والمرض المستشري وإمكانات علاجه. وهو بأسلوبه الجذاب يجمع بين أصالة الفكرة وبين طريقة عرضها المشوقة. فمؤلفاته شيقة وعميقة وسهلة الهضم، تعرف ماذا يراد لها أن تقول، وتعرف كيف وبأي صيغة تقوله. ومن هذا المنحى وذاك يمكن لنا وصف الدكتور طلال على أنه خبير طاقة بشرية، يعرف كيف يستخرج من كل منجم فكري أو حركي طاقاته المدخرة وكنوزه المستودعة فيه. ومن عصارة كتب الدكتور طلال يمكن أن نخلص إلى حقيقة مفادها أن تبديد الطاقة الإيجابية والتفريط بالقوى المركزية هدر لقوى البناء والنماء والبقاء، وأن النسيج المجتمعي الإسلامي قادر على المقاومة ما امتلك أهله مقومات الانتصار لمبادئه وقيمه بالدرجة الأولى، وتمسكوا بها على أنها سر نجاحهم وفلاحهم ونهضتهم المنشودة هنا في هذه البلاد وفي بلادنا الإسلامية. أيها الإخوة والأخوات والأحبة في الله، لقد نجح المحتفى به الدكتور طلال طرفة في أن يعقد مصالحة بين الفكرين الغربي والإسلامي، وهذه واحدة من سمات الكاتب الناجح في هذه الأيام. هو باحث مؤلف يواشج بين مناهج البحث العلمي الغربي وبين مشروعه الفكري الإسلامي المتكامل. هو مسلم الهوى والهوية حتى النخاع، عربي في الصميم لكنه أمريكي الذائقة البحثية والاستشراف الميداني. أيها الأحبة، إننا في الوقت الذي نحتفي به معا ونشيد فيه معا بمفكرنا الدكتور طلال طرفة وبمجهوده الفكري الخلاق، نوجه العناية إلى ضرورة الاستفادة من تجربته الرائدة في تلبية حاجات ساحتنا الأمريكية المتزايدة إلى نتاجات فكرية وثقافية تخرج من دائرة التنظير إلى فضاء الحركة والعمل والخدمة والعطاء. وإننا نتمنى لأستاذنا الدكتور طلال أن يواصل مشروعه الفكري. ما منا المسألة تنتهي بكتب 7 أو 8، ولا نريد أن يكون وصفنا اليوم لمجموعة مؤلفاته بالكاملة، وصفناها بالكاملة في بداية الحديث، ولا نريد لهذا الوصف أن يكون نهاية لا استئناف لها لهذا الإبداع ولهذا التألق الفكري، بل نتمنى أن يثرينا الدكتور طلال دائما بمؤلفات جديدة تفيض علينا إن شاء الله من خزين خبرته وتجربته وبديع فكره وثقافته. دكتور طلال، شكرا لك، نشكر لك باسمنا وباسم هذه الجالية الطيبة المعطاء الكريمة الوفية، وباسم المجمع الإسلامي الثقافي، أن وسعت آفاق معرفتنا. شكرا لك على أن نصبت لنا مسرحا في النور وتحت الهواء الطلق. شكرا على روحك الوحدوية ومساعيك النبيلة في إرساء الوحدة الدينية والمجتمعية. شكرا من أعماق قلوبنا لكتبك 8 القيمة، مش 7، الكتاب الأخير رائع جدا، لكتبك 8 القيمة، وإلى مزيد من العطاء والإثراء يا صاحب كتاب القلب السليم، ويا صاحب الصبر في الإسلام، ويا أيها الوحدوي، ويا أيها الصابر المرابط على خط الجهاد الفكري والإصلاحي، ويا ذا الطاقة الإيجابية التي تشع علينا ببركاتها بين الحين والآخر. كل المودة وكل العرفان والامتنان والتألق والتوفيق منا جميعا أيها الصديق العزيز الدكتور الحاج طلال طرفة. وما توفيقي إلا بالله، عليه توكلت وإليه أنيب، والحمد لله رب العالمين، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
بس بدي بشر الشيخ الدكتور باقر انه الحاج طلال بعد ما انتهى بالكتابه، الكتاب التاسع بقيد الطبع. تقديرا لعمله الادبي والسعي للوحده بين الاديان السماويه، يتشرف امناء المجمع الاسلامي الثقافي والشيخ باقر ان يقدموا درع وفاء وتقدير للحاج طلال. أطلب من أمناء المجمع الإسلامي الثقافي والحاج طلال أن يتفضلوا إلى المنبر لتسليم الدرع. حاج طلال.
أحسنت.
يلا حاج ready.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وقل اعملوا فسيرى الله عملكم ورسوله والمؤمنون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. شهادة شكر وتقدير وامتنان للبروفسور الحاج طلال طرفة نثمن عاليا إبداعكم الثقافي الإسلامي المميز. المجمع الإسلامي الثقافي في 7/22/22. أهلا وسهلا. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
From the Islamic Institute of Knowledge, in recognition of Dr. Talal Turfi's for outstanding scholarly contribution and service to Islam and to his community, a plaque in recognition of his outstanding service by the Islamic Institute of Knowledge on Friday, July 22nd, 2022. Thank you, Dr. Talal.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Cool. Want me to stay here? Okay. Where am I? Okay. Sit now.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بس شنقول صغيرة. أنا بدي أحكي كيف تعرفت على الأخ الحبيب البروفسور دكتور طلال. أول مرة شرف سماحة المرجع الديني سماحة الشيخ عبد اللطيف الله يشفيه وعافيه على أمريكا بسنة 1979، ونزل ضيف عند المرحوم الشاعر والأديب الشيخ يوسف بري، وأنا كنت كل يوم بعد الظهر أروح زور سماحته ونقعد ونتحدث، وبيجوا الأخوان والضيوف بيزوروا. يوم من الأيام طرق الباب، فتحنا الباب وبعد الاستئذان فات على البيت رجل عليه مهابة وقدر وقيمة ومعه شاب بأول طلعته. قعد جلس، بعد ما تحدثنا توجه بالكلام لسماحة العلامة المرجع الشيخ عبد اللطيف بري، قال له: يا شيخنا أنا اسمي الحاج علي طرفة، ولادي كلهم خلقوا بأمريكا وربيتهم تربية كتير مرتبة وكتير على الدين وعلى الإسلام، وهذا الشاب يعني بالحاج طلال اللي قاعد حد مني بيقرأ قرآن وحافظ القرآن أحسن من الشباب واللي يجوا من البلاد من لبنان. ووقت الحاج طلال سمعنا شوي بقري قرآن، ومش جديد على الحاج طلال مسيرة العمل، مسيرة متوج إن شاء الله حاج طلال بالخير والبركة، والله يعطيك طول الصحة والعافية أنت والحج العماد، الله يقدركم على عمل الخير ودائما يجمعنا بمواسم وبوادر الخير. شكرا كثير. بس أنا ما كان مقرر على البرنامج، بس حبيت أحكي على الحكاية من أيمتى معرفتنا بالدكتور الحاج طلال. شكرا والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Now it is my introduction to Haj Talal. But before I introduce Haj Talal, I would like to share something with everyone. Although Professor Talal has a full command in the English language and the intellectual skill in writing, and has received the guidance and support from religious scholars, he could not have succeeded in delivering these 8 books without providing the proper environment by his wife, Hajj Na'mat Haydous Tarfa. Thank you, Hajj. Hajj Talal has a long and very impressive resume. I did enjoy it when I start writing, and I'm sure every one of you will enjoy it. I will be speaking both in English and Arabic as appropriate. ترعرع الحاج طلال طرفة ببيت يكلله الإيمان والمساعدة والعطاء بدون مقابل، من أبوين كريمين، الحاج علي طرفة والحاجة حسنية طرفة. تزوج من شريكة العمر والعطاء والخير للناس، الحاجة نعمات هيدوس طرفة، وكرمهما الله سبحانه وتعالى بذرية صالحة سائرون على خطى والديهم. الحاج طلال كما ذكر الأخ الحاج موسى الحاج طلال أمريكي المولد علم نفسه الأبجدية العربية حيث قرأ القرآن بلغته الأصلية. دوره في توفير وظائف لآلاف المهاجرين من المسلمين وغير المسلمين أهله أن يكون أول مسلم يقدم له جائزة فارس الخير تكريما لجهوده الإنسانية العالمية من قبل المعهد الرسولي للبعثات الخارجية القائم في الفاتيكان. نشر مقالات ودراسات عديدة في الحقل المالي والتجاري واستراتيجية التسويق في مجلات وصحف رائدة. ألف 8 كتب عن الإسلام ووحدة الأديان. الكتاب التاسع قيد الطبع كتب عنه في العديد من المجلات والصحف والكتب الأدبية، وآخرها موسوعة أقلام مهجرية للمؤلف كامل بس. قدراته الفكرية والخبراتية أهلته أن يحاضر من أعلى منبر في العالم، منبر الأمم المتحدة، وأن يكون من بين 200 قائد ومفكر سياسي وديني تم اختيارهم في أنحاء العالم للمشاركة في القمة الألفية للسلام العالمي في نيويورك. For half a century, Haj Talal was worked in a various management and executive position in the automotive industry and as a consultant. Taught graduate and undergraduate courses in business administration at several colleges and universities. He was a visiting scholar on Islamic study in the University of Detroit Mercy. He was offered to be a professor at Oxford University by the Dean of the Islamic Study, Sheikh Khalid Al-Ataya, who later became the first deputy speaker of the 275-member parliament in Iraq. He was recognized nationally for his economic knowledge and financial analysis skills expertise. Just to cite a couple of them, he was the ghostwriter for Dr. Paul McCracken's Outlook on Consumer Durables, when Dr. Paul became the chairman of the Council of Economic Advisor to U.S. President at that time, Richard Nixon. Another event, he helped in the development of the econometric model analysis for Dr. Lawrence Klein. Well, this model, for the folks that they know, that requires some statistical technique in the regression analysis and null hypothesis theory. Probably Dr. Atalla is very well aware of that. But who is Dr. Lawrence Klein? Anybody know? He is the Nobel Prize winner in 1980 of economic science for the creation of economical model. Also, he was a chairman for several organizations and served on a number of boards of directors, citing just a few of them. Chairman of the National Conference for Community and Justice, member of a President Bill Clinton Call to Action, member of Board of Director of the American Task Force for Lebanon in Washington, D.C., also the chairman of the Arab American Chaldean Council. He served on several committees, and the latest appointment was by Governor Whitmer's on the Finance Committee. Please welcome Professor Haj Talal Turfe.
علماء الفاضل أيها الأخوة والأخوات، السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. There are many people I would like to thank for their help throughout my life, without whom I would not be who I am or what I'm doing. My father, Haj Ali, and my mother, Haj Hasni,
who nurtured and cultivated me and the person I am. My awesome wife, Hajj Na'mat, who was a spark of inspiration, support, and encouragement that motivated me to continue to succeed. I want to thank my publisher, Dr. May Hassan Al-Zain of Dar al-Kitab al-Lebnani and Dar al-Kitab al-Masri, who helped make these books possible. It's been a long journey, and I couldn't have done it without all of her support. I want to also thank the Islamic Institute of Knowledge, as well as my friends in the Education Committee of the Vintage Bite Cultural Center for their support. The Master of Ceremonies, Dr. Muhammad Nasser, also spent countless hours to ensure that this event would be successful. Hajj Muhammad Al-Zain recitation from the Quran and the enlightened remarks by Dr. Sheikh Bakr Birri. Thank you very much. A special thanks to Mian Subah and Hassan Bezi for their video production of my life story. They are highly professional both in their interview and photography. They have taken the initiative to interview the life stories of Arab Americans. All of our Islamic institutions have made an enormous impact in perpetuating Islam in our community and throughout America. Muslims have made great strides in interfaith with Christians and Jews, and to some extent an intrafaith between Shias and Sunnis. Just to mention a few examples of how various Islamic institutions have great success. The Islamic Society of North America, ISNA, has been providing services for the Muslim community for over a century through its annual convention, conferences, youth programs, as well as interfaith programs. Here in our community, Sheikh Muhammad Ali Ilahi has made great strides in both interfaith and intrafaith discussions. Sayyid Hassan Kuzwini has put together a state-of-the-art educational program that has outreach to communities in America and other countries. إِنَّ أَنزَلْنَاهُ قُرْآنًا عَرَبِيًّا لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ. That's the theme of my presentation. Indeed, we have sent down an Arabic Quran so that you may understand. In the past, I've had individual book signings on each of my 7 books in English. All 7 of these books have now been translated into Arabic. The 8th book in Arabic consists of all 7 books, with each book a chapter condensed. While there has been and continues to be great achievements from the numerous Islamic institutions in America, the purpose of this book signing event is to address 3 fundamental questions. 1, how I learned the Arabic language. 2, how I learned about Islam. And 3, who translated my books into Arabic. How I learned the Arabic language, I had no one to teach me how to read Arabic, as my father and mother were not literate in the Arabic language. I taught myself the Arabic alphabet at the age of 12 in order to read the Quran in Arabic. I would recite from the Quran to my father and mother, who knew by memory some of the smaller surahs in the Quran. I also read from the Quran to a person from Yemen who would correct my pronunciation in Arabic words. I would also listen to the recordings of Sheikh Muhammad Rif'at's recitation of the Quran. 2, how I learned about Islam. During my teenage years, I would meet frequently with Sheikh Abdullah Birri in order to enlighten me about the history and theology of Islam. For 16 years, I taught teenagers about Islam at the Islamic Center of America under the supervision of Sheikh Muhammad Jawad Shirri. When Sheikh Shirri would be traveling, he would have me substitute for him, speaking on Islam to the adults. However, it was my numerous meetings and discussions with Ayatollah Talal Marja, Sheikh Abdul Latif Birri, that enabled me to expand my knowledge about Islam. I would like to pay tribute to my mentor, Sheikh Abdul Latif Birri. As my mentor, I see in him the innate dignity of the human persona as he continues to steer forward in the direction of unity. He's a man of principles, integrity, honor, courage, and patience. He does not waver. He does not compromise his values. He does not distort. He knows Islam inside and out. His message has been clear, concise, and constant. He has spent his life studying and defending Islam. Whether popular or not, he has always stood for what is right. He is committed to the cause of education as well as the problems of modern society and the challenges we face. His philosophy is that in unity there is strength. Patterning himself after his great teacher, Grand Ayatollah Khoury, he provides an abundant reservoir of knowledge and understanding of Islamic concepts and principles. I am deeply moved by his pursuit of knowledge, always looking to learn something new. And what he has learned, he has shared with us. his endless curiosity and thirst for knowledge only to serve to make us more enlightened and stronger in our faith. Thoroughly grounded in the classical tradition of Islam, his learned instruction and creative interpretation provide refreshing perspectives on the role of Islam in contemporary society, especially in America. What was Sheikh Birri's process in mentoring me? I would first write a draft of the book in English, and then I would discuss it with him. The process was not one where he would revise or rewrite the book. No, his process was to instill in me the importance of introspective thinking. He would write comments in Arabic on the draft. I would then have Dr. Haj Nuruddin Saab, Haj Sameh Bedoun, and Haj Sabri Haydous translate these comments into English. I would then discuss with Sheikh Birri my rationale relative to his comments. These comments were of the nature of probing into how I came to certain conclusions, but he never dismissed any of my analyses. During the discussions of my first book, Al-Sabr for Islam, Patience in Islam, I told Sheikh Birri that I was fearful that I may have gone outside the realm of Islam in my analysis. He said, don't worry, you have not gone outside the boundaries of Islam, and you must continue as you have by digging deep into the topic. He provided encouragement, but not telling me what I want to hear. He helped me understand how to write with a distinct voice and consistent point of view and fresh novel ideas. That my writing should be done dense and rich in detail, but not overwritten. He shared his wisdom with me so I was able to understand, think, and combine knowledge and experiences in order to make good decisions. And that is why he's my mentor. And that is why I was able to author these books in Islam. Had it not been for Sheikh Abdul Latif Birri, I would not have written my books, nor would this book signing event have taken place. I had written my first book on Islam entitled Patience in Islam, Sabr. Upon completion of the draft of my book, I met with Sheikh Abdul Latif Birri, who critiqued the book and gave me additional insights into the topic. 3, who translated my books into Arabic. I met with the Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Muhammad Hussain Fadlallah in Lebanon and told him that Sheikh Abdul Latif Birri mentored me on the book Sabr. Sayyid Fadlallah told me that Sheikh Abdul Latif Birri afdal bil ilm, and he said it 2 times, that he is the best in knowledge. I believe that testimonial by Sheikh Abdul Latif Birri speaks volumes. Sayyid Fadlallah sent me to Maktab Khadir in Beirut to have my book translated into Arabic. At Maktab Khadir, I met with Sheikh Khalid Atiyeh, the executive director of that publishing company, who had his brother, Dr. Hamid Atiyeh, translate the book into Arabic. The draft of the book was then evaluated by the Khadir organization in Iran. Among those who evaluated my book for approval were Sayyid Ali Khamenei, now the supreme leader of the Islamic Republic of Iran, and Sayyid Mahmoud Hashemi Shahrudi, who was the Chief Justice of Iran. Some of you may recall it was the late Sayyid Muhammad Baqir Sadr who helped form the Khadir institution in Iran. After the second edition of the book, Sheikh Khalid Atiyeh, who had been exiled from Iraq by Saddam Hussein, now became the Dean of Islamic Studies at Oxford University in England. He asked me to join him at Oxford as the Professor of Islamic Studies, and he gave me his 5 phone numbers so I can be in contact with him. I decided not to accept the offer. After 3 years as Dean of Islamic Studies of Oxford University, Sheikh Khalid Atiyeh became the first Deputy Speaker of the Iraqi National Assembly of 275 members. When I made my pilgrimage in Mecca in 1997, Sayyid Ali Khamenei sent a delegation to meet with me to autograph my English book on Sabr, and to invite me to present my book at the Islamic Conference in Tehran in December of that year. I didn't follow up because the US State Department was adamant that Americans should not be traveling to Iran at that time. I have various translators of my other books. For example, Dr. Ahmed Musalli, American University of Beirut, head of the Islamic Studies, who translated my book on Qalbin Salim. He was going to translate my other books, but he passed away, Allah yarhamah. Other translators were Rafid Khaddad, Samir Majdalani, and George Al-Asmar. Each of my books are written in a unique style. For example, the use of tables and diagrams to illustrate the importance of Islamic concepts. In addition, I would research these concepts in order to determine how they are linked to other concepts. And this exercise allowed me to dig deeper into understanding and formulating new theories. I don't intend to present a detailed discussion of my theories in each of the books, since time does not permit me to do so. However, I will discuss them briefly. My book on patience in Islam, Sabr. Sabr is proactive and reactive. Proactive, not reactive, and has many attributes such as patience, endurance, and perseverance. Sabr also means a tie or bind, the turbat. And what it ties or binds is the articles of faith, the branches of faith. Turbat al-Rasul al-Din ma'at furu' al-Din. Turbat Ahl al-Bayt ma'at Sunnat al-Rasul. Turbat an attitude and behavior, al-Mawqif ma'at Suluk. And Turbat the Jasad ma'at Ruh, the body and soul. Sheikh Bidi asked me to think about the concept of inti'al, emotion, and I then met with him the following week. On a piece of paper, I drew for him the meaning of infial as it relates to sabr wa silwan. That بين الانفعال والصبر هو العاطفة وبين الانفعال والسلوان بين الصبر والسلوان بين الصبر والانفعال هو الأخلاق وبين الانفعال والسلوان هو العاطفة. That between patience and comfort is emotion or emotional intelligence, but between emotion and patience is ethics, and between emotion and comfort is empathy. Sheikh Bidi levitated from his chair and said that I'm the first ever to have come up with this analysis of Sabr wa Silwan. The definition of Islam that I came up after many, many definitions, I said, Al-Islamu huwa sabr, wa sabr huwa dhikr, wa dhikr huwa taslim, wa taslim huwa sabr. Islam is patience, patience is remembrance, remembrance is submission, and submission is endurance. The concept of dhikr itself includes many virtues of the definition of Islam, such as qana'an, shukr, yaqeen, tasdeeq, ikrar, ada, and amal. Sabr interacts with the elements of human existence, such as the physical elements of earth, air, fire, and water. The power elements of intellect, anger, passion, and imagination. The spiritual elements of faith, prayer, fasting, charity, pilgrimage, struggle, ethics, and beliefs. And the elements of the senses of sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. Here I theorize that sabr is a hidden sixth sense. Even the revolving hierarchy of our Islamic personality and morality begins with the self foundation, with the assassinat, the self foundation of Iman, and it escalates upward through self-security, self-awareness, self-achievement, self-satisfaction, finally to idrak an-nafs, self-realization of sabr. And then it leads right back down from sabr to Iman. The upward and downward movement of the hierarchy travels by way of the concept of dhikr. In my book on the unity of Islam, the theme of this book is based solely on the Quranic verse 159, chapter 6, Surah Al-An'am. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Inna ladina farraqu dinahum wa kanu shi'an lasta minhum fi shay'in innama amrum ila Allahi thumma yunabbi'uhum bima kanu yaf'alun. Surely you have nothing to do with those who have made divisions in their religion and become factions. This matter is with Allah, and He will indeed tell them in time what they have been doing. I theorize that this fragmentation between Sunnis and Shias is similar to the difference between Jahl Basit and Jahl Murakkab, between simple ignorance and compound, closed-minded, complex ignorance. With simple ignorance, one is willing to learn, to understand, to become knowledgeable. However, with complex ignorance, one thinks he knows, but he does not know, because he's ignorant, that is ignorant of his ignorance. In order for conflict resolution to be effective, both Sunnis and Shias must first seek to understand before they seek to be understood, and to adhere to the following: atmosphere of mutual respect and trust, reciprocal communication, promoting self-worth, free expression of ideas and thoughts, advancing scholarly questioning and methodical decision-making, promoting open-mindedness and regard for different points of view, deciding on an outcome after carefully considering alternatives, differentiating between rational behavior and emotional behavior. However, what is at the center of many of these conflicts are the following: preconception and narrow-mindedness, opposition and antagonism, absence of constructive criticism, disrespect for others. In my book on energy in Islam, it's written to explore the concept of energy and how it affects the universe, the earth, and our daily lives. Aside from the spiritual aspect, not too much has been written on the subject of energy as it relates to Islam. It is hoped that Islamic scholars will use this book as a benchmark to further research and explore the importance of energy. The quality of our lives can improve or diminish depending on how energy flows through our human system. In order to prosper in our lives, we need positive energy. Pursuing a spiritual path and learning to appreciate the blessings that Allah has given us helps our energy fields become more focused and directed. An example of the manifestation of energy is the Isra and Miraj of the Prophet Muhammad. I came across a book by Ayatollah Mutahari, famous scholar. He wrote a book called Polarization Around the Character of Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib, Imam Ali's power of attraction and power of repulsion. Although mentioned in his book, it is only because I read his book that I was able to theorize that the power of attraction and the power of repulsion regarding Imam Ali was due to his creative energy, Taka Khallaka. In the book on Children of Abraham, I think it's the first book ever written to discuss and analyze side by side the traditional Abraham faiths of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, the origins, the beliefs, the messages of the prophets, principles and practices, misunderstandings and virtues. It also touches on the threats to the Abrahamic faith and the implications of losing the faith. The end result is how to win the unity among the traditional faiths, as well as a call for interfaith trialogue. Although there have been Judeo-Christian discussions between Jews and Christians, Islam has not been part of these discussions. The main purpose of this book is how to save monotheism in America by having a trialogue of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, discussing and acting on critical theological issues common to each traditional faith. Let us look at just one example of the common ground and common principle of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam regarding the bedrock of each traditional faith, which is prayer. And we look to God in adjuration and submission and supplication. How do each of the Jewish prayer, the Christian prayer, and the Muslim prayer perform this? Well, with respect to, and most talked about Jewish prayers, the Kaddish prayer, the Lord's Prayer in Christianity, and the Fatiha prayer in Islam. With respect to adjuration of God, the Jewish prayer says, God is exalted and sanctified. The Christian prayer says, hallowed be thy name, and the Muslim prayer says, God is the beneficent and merciful. With respect to submission to God, the Jewish prayer says, according to his will. The Christian prayer, thy will be done, and the Muslim prayer, thee do we worship. And with respect to supplication, it's dua, it's a entreaty, a plea, you ask God for something. The Kaddish Jewish prayers ask God to grant peace upon us. The Christian prayer says, lead us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. And the Muslim prayer says, guide us to Sirat al-Mustaqim, the straight path. In the book on Remember Me and I Remember You, this is a book on dhikr. Dhikr flows through our minds and hearts as we invoke the remembrance of Allah. Dhikr immerses us into deep meditation, glorifying the name of Allah. There's a variety of expressions, including chanting Allah's names. Dhikr means praising Allah for his blessing on us by saying, Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, and La ilaha illallah. Dhikr helps us become more in tune with our inner self by bringing into focus the essence of our Islamic personality. Dhikr purifies the heart, the mind, the soul. It enhances piety and spirituality. It encircles emotional well-being, and dhikr manages stress and improves patience. Dhikr is important because it not only inspires us to do good, but it also heals, energizes, and transforms our lives. Dhikr is the adhesive that binds the mind and heart together. فَاذْكُرُونِي أُذْكُرْكُمْ وَاشْكُرُوا لِي وَلَا تَكْفُرُونَ. So remember me, remember God. He will remember you. Be thankful to God and never ungrateful. In the book on Qalb Salim, Awakening the Pure Heart, several verses in the Quran discuss that the heart does in fact have the capability to think, store thoughts, feel, and interact with the brain in controlling and thinking process. Previously, we had been led to believe that scientists only focus on the heart's responses to the brain's commands. Now, scientific research has disclosed that communication between the heart and brain is dynamic and ongoing. Each organ, the heart and the brain, engages in a two-way dialogue, constantly influencing each other. Scientists in the field of neurocardiology have discovered that the heart possesses its own intrinsic nervous system, a network of nerves as functionally sophisticated as to earn the description of a heart brain. The heart communicates information to the brain and throughout the body by electromagnetic field interactions. And the heart's magnetic component is about 500 times stronger than the brain's magnetic field. The Heart Math Institute in Boulder Creek, California has researched and developed reliable, scientifically based tools regarding the heart. The heart is in constant communication with the brain, and both the heart and brain receive and respond to information about a future event before the event actually happens. The heart makes many of its own decisions. The heart starts beating in the unborn fetus before the brain has been formed, a process scientists call autorhythmic. Average heart beats 110,000 times a day, 40 million times a year. Heart produces enough power in 1 hour to lift 2,000 pounds, 3 feet off the ground. Source of the heartbeat is in the heart, not the brain. Electrical impulse of the heart is 40 to 60 times stronger than that of the brain. Heart sends more information to the brain than the brain does to the heart. Heart's vascular system, 60,000 miles long, can wrap around the earth twice. And in my 7th book, on Imam Ali, Sirat al-Mustaqim, I started off, when I wrote this book, to coin a phrase from the Quran. وَلَا تَلْبِسُوا الْحَقِّ بِالْبَاطِلِ وَلَا تَكْتُمُوا الْحَقَّ وَأَنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. And mix not truth with falsehood, nor conceal the truth while you know the truth. The book underscores the importance of understanding the concept of Imam, and why Imam is more profound than either the concepts of Rasul or Nabi. Why? We have been accustomed to understanding that the concept of Imam deals with a person only. And the greatest Imams are Rasul, such as Prophet Abraham and Prophet Muhammad. But these Imams are also guides, and they guide us to a greater Imam, which is the divine book. Sharia of Ibrahim, Zabur of David, Torah of Moses, Injil of Jesus, Quran of Muhammad. And before it, the book of Moses was a guide and a mercy. And the Quran as a book confirms previous scriptures in the Arabic language. وَمِنْ قَبْلِهِ كِتَابُ مُوسَى إِمَامًا وَرَحْمَةً وَهَذَا كِتَابٌ مُصَدِّقٌ لِسَانًا عَرَبِيًّا. Moreover, these divine books guide us to the destination, which is the ultimate Imam, and that destination is Sirat al-Mustaqim, the straight path. And Surah An-Nisa says, then, as for those who believe in Allah and hold fast unto Him, soon He will admit them to mercy from Him and His grace, and guide them unto Himself by the straight path. In Surah Al-Hud, chapter 11, verse 56, the second part of the verse says that my Lord is on the straight path. Inna Rabbi ala Sirat al-Mustaqim. Having an understanding of the concept of Imam, the book then illustrates the importance of the Imamate of Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib, and how he guided the Muslim Ummah after the death of Prophet Muhammad. Since Muslims agree on the Quran and Prophet Muhammad, what other source is there to bring about the unity? Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib. Why? Both Sunnis and Shia highly respect Imam Ali, who had said that when there is a conflict between two parties, the best solution is a path of moderation, a'tidal, the middle of the road. Both sides must bend and get closer to the middle of the road. Imam Ali's intention was the preservation of the unity and stability of the Islamic Ummah from the dangers of division, disintegration, and destruction. When Imam Ali was denied to be the first caliph, he did not fight against Abu Bakr, because had he done so, both sides would have been severely weakened, thereby opening the door for the enemies to defeat them. Imam Ali preferred to safeguard Islam at all costs, because the state of Islam was still in its early stages and vulnerable. Similarly, when Uthman was caliph, many Muslims rose against him. But Imam Ali placed his two sons, Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein, at the gate of Uthman's house to protect him, even though Imam Ali knew Uthman was wrong. Why? Because Imam Ali wanted to protect Islam by preserving the unity. Caliph Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, the great-grandson of Caliph Umar ibn al-Khattab, replaced the cursing of Imam Ali and his progeny on the minbar during Friday prayers with verse 15 from Surah 59 Al-Hashr and verse 90 of Surah 16 Al-Nahl from the Quran. And he also returned Fadak to the descendants of Fatima Zahra. Unfortunately, he was martyred at the age of 38, having served as caliph for only 3 years. Imam al-Shafi'i has special passion and love for Imam Ali and Ahl al-Bayt, as manifested and expressed in his famous poems. One such comment Shafi'i made was that if the Shias were Rafidi, then he is a Rafidi. Even Caliph Umar ibn al-Khattab said in Sahih Bukhari that our best judge is Ali. So instead of being a point of division, Imam Ali can become the pivot of unity for us today, at a time when the Muslim Ummah is weakened both from within and without. There is no disagreement among Muslims, whether Sunni or Shia, as to the character of Imam Ali. his pure faith, his pure justice, his pure truth. Imam Ali is a symbol of unity, and no group, whether Sunni or Shia, can claim that Imam Ali belongs only to them. Imam Ali belongs to all humanity. During his years of silence regarding his just rights, Imam Ali carried out his social responsibilities in the form of military, political, scientific, judicial, economic, and other types of counsel to safeguard Islam. Today, the Muslim world should seriously think about the importance of Imam Ali and how he can be the vehicle for unity, along with the Quran and Prophet Muhammad. Hold fast all together to Allah's cord and do not be divided among yourselves. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبِّ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. The 8th book is a condensed summary of the 7 books, with each book a chapter. Again, thank you for being so patient. My heartfelt appreciation goes out each and every one of you. Wassalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
حاج طلال.
انت عليكم السلام.
حاج طلال.
Watch a second.
Hello, hello.
Can I stay up here?
Hello. Al-Hajj Talal wrote 7 books in English, and he translated this book to Arabic. The English books are right there against the wall. These are the 7 books in Arabic. But Hajj Talal, he's a very realistic individual. He understands and he knows not everyone can read 7 books. Therefore, about 5 or 6 months ago, he came up with the idea of writing the 8th book. And the 8th book is a summary of these 7 books. And here's what I would recommend. Here's what I recommend, please. I would recommend you take one of these, each one of you take the 8th book, because that's a summary. And as far as the rest of the book, you can take any one as you like. And we do have a dinner, please. شاركونا بالطعام والطعام. The food is from Dearborn Fresh and also from Nizam Bakery. Thank you, and thank you for coming. By the way, there's no signed book. The 8th book is a pre-stamp by Hajj Talal, but the rest of the book are not. No signature. I just want to mention that the summary book is on the left-hand side. That is the summary book.